Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Ginger Pierce, and I am one of the travel agents with Marvelous Mouse Travels. We are the agency that runs this Facebook group, along with several others that are focused on different destinations. And we are also best of the best with Sandals and Beaches Resorts, which is the all inclusive brand that we are here to talk to you about tonight. Welcome to Sundays with MMT. This is a weekly live agent panel video series that we do in one of our Facebook groups every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we're very excited to be in this group tonight to talk to you about food at Sandals and Beaches Resort. So we're going to be covering different dining options, some of our favorite dining options. We're going to talk a little bit about dining with food allergies or sensitivities. We're going to cover all of that. So we obviously have a lot of information that we're going to share with you tonight, but we would also love to save some time at the end of the video to take any questions that you might have about Sandals and Beaches as a whole or about food specifically. We are using a platform called StreamYard to go live tonight, and StreamYard might ask you to approve it to display your username and profile picture if you want to post a comment or question. Just know that you don't have to accept that permission. You can decline that and still post anonymously, and we'll still be able to interact with you. But I am joined tonight by two of our marvelous agents. Ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight. And if you would take just a second to tell everybody your name, how long you've been with the agency, and the best way for them to contact you if they're interested in planning a vacation. I think we got a little, oh, there we go. We'll let Erin go first. I think Holly's
All
having
right.
some internet issues.
She may be. I am Erin Sudemeyer. I have been with the agency since 2017. And what else was I supposed to say about myself?
The best way for people to contact you.
Best way for people to contact me. The easiest way is probably through Facebook. Sudemeyer is not easy to spell, and it's part of my email address. But if you go to Facebook and you type in eSudo, SUDOMMT, then you will get to my Facebook page, and all of my information is on there. So eSudo at MMT is a great way to go, especially if you have questions when we're done.
There we go.
I am Holly Riley. I've been with the agency about 4.5 years. The best way to contact me is my email address on the screen there, or on my Facebook page at Allergies.
And again, my name is Ginger. I have been with the agency just over 3 years. I hold master planner status, and the best way to get in touch with me if you're interested in planning a trip is to go to my blog, which is gingermmt.com, and that has links to all of my other social media platforms as well. So both of the agents that are joining us tonight have either traveled extensively to Sandals and Beaches. I believe Holly has been to all but two. Holly can correct me if I'm wrong. Erin has traveled there extensively as well. Erin's actually leaving tomorrow morning to board Freedom of the Seas. Is that right, Erin?
That is correct. That is correct. And I'm so glad travel is moving forward for the cruise lines. Obviously, over the last year, I've been to 4 beaches and Sandals locations. Super excited that we're able to move forward with travel. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's great to see the world kind of coming back a little bit. There is in the travel industry something called wave season, which is typically January to like March or April when a lot of people are planning their vacations. And we've been talking about how this has kind of been the wave season that had never ends because people
it's the tsunami.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's the endless wave of people just excited to be back in the world, and I think a lot of people have been looking forward to for a long time to that all-inclusive vacation. And the reason why a lot of people choose an all-inclusive, whether it's a cruise or an all-inclusive resort like what we're talking about tonight, is because everything's included, so your dining options are included. And obviously you want to go somewhere that's going to have excellent dining options for you to choose from, that's going to have a great variety, that's going to be able to handle things like food allergies and food sensitivities. And Sandals and Beaches are excellent at that. If you are unfamiliar with this resort brand, Sandals is the adults only branch. So that's going to be great for your honeymooners, your, couples looking for that romantic getaway. Whereas Beaches is that family friendly, bring the kids along with you. But they're both top notch in terms of service and amenities and food, which is specifically what we're talking about tonight. So, ladies, I have a few questions for you regarding your eating experiences at Sandals and Beaches. Let's talk about Sandals first. In your opinion, which Sandals resort has the best variety of food options?
Holly, I'll let you go first.
I was thinking that's a hard one because they're all so unique in their own way. A lot of them carry a lot of the same main restaurants, and then they kind of branch off. I would say so far my favorite's probably been Royal Barbados. They're the only ones to have the donut shop, so that's very unique to them. And I just feel like they had a lot more of a variety there. There was they have the steakhouse, they have the hibachi, you've got your Indian food, all kinds of stuff, anything you can ask for, basically.
Awesome.
Yes. So I'm going to give an answer that somewhat duplicates yours, but I'm going to cheat a little bit. Sometimes you have a stay at one, play at two, stay at one, play at three. And one of the great parts about being at a Sandals location, when you're paired up either directly next to another resort or within, say, 20 minutes drive, 15 minutes drive of another resort, you can actually stay at one of the resorts, but you have privileges at all the resorts. The really unique part about Sandals Barbados and Sandals Royal Barbados is that the properties butt up against each other. And there's two access areas to go back and forth, one on the beach and one in the center of the resort. So when you're staying there and you're at Sandals Barbados, you have a certain number of restaurants. Royal Barbados, you have another set of restaurants. In total, you've got 11 on one side, 9 on the other. You have 20 dining options between the two resorts, and the resorts aren't that large, so it's a very quaint environment. You have a steakhouse on either side. You have some things that are different, like sweet and salty gourmet donuts, Holly, that you talked about. That's unique to that location. One of my favorite meals was actually at Sandals Barbados, but I think it really, when you're talking about what gives you the most options, when you've got that many options in walking distance, and you're talking about everything from Indian to, sushi, hibachi, and then you're talking about pastries, and it's just, there's so much there when it comes to food options. So 20 food options, I would say that would be my go-to if you're talking about the most options.
Absolutely. And that's a great point that you make about having those privileges at the other resorts, because, every Sandals property does kind of have its own feel or its own atmosphere. And so it is cool to get to kind of, if one of them that maybe you're staying at is a little more tranquil and the other has a little bit more of an active vibe, you get to experience a little bit of both. And that's pretty awesome, especially when it comes to food, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Like if you're talking about the St. Lucia resorts, you've got 3 resorts. Now, it's not, right next to each other. You do have to take a shuttle that's free between the 3 resorts. But if you're talking about the differences between the 3 resorts in St. Lucia, you have 27 dining options between those 3. And if you have, if you're looking for the, the best beach, I'm going to send you this resort. If you're looking for that small, tranquil boutique experience, then you're going to Halcyon. And if you're looking for something where you want the best French restaurant up in the, the bluffs, and you want the whole view of the cliffs in St. Lucia, I'm sending you to Le Tac for their signature French restaurant. So there are a ton of options that are in those places. They have Gordon's over the water over at the Grand. The beach there is fantastic. So
Mhm.
that would be my second place. If we were going to give it a runner up, I would say, St. Lucia,
St. Lucia.
you have a lot of options there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go over to the other end of the spectrum and let's talk about beaches for a second. Obviously, we want something that is friendly to the whole family when we're choosing a beaches vacation. So, which beaches resort, in your opinion, has the most kid friendly options?
I would go with Turks and Caicos. Um, Food's top notch there. They've got a mac and cheese truck. They've got an ice cream truck. Personally, my favorite is the Sky Restaurant. The steak, best steak I've had in my life. So good. But they have a nice little um, Bobby D's restaurant, which is right by the little kids swim up bar there. Lots of kids options, open late at night for adults that want to stay out and party. So it's it's really really good for the food. I was actually just telling my husband about that last night. So
Planting the seeds, right?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yep. You're going to find great options for kids no matter where you go. And I'll tell you my favorite in a second. But I'll tell you this. So, like, for instance, Negril has a frozen yogurt place
Hmm.
where the kids can go in, make frozen yogurt, all the different toppings. We talked a little bit about Turks and Caicos, having, Bobby D's and that type of thing. The great part is that if you go to a restaurant and you're a foodie, you're going to have food that is basic enough that your children, if they're picky, are going to find something they will enjoy. But if you're a foodie, you're not going to have to sacrifice. You're also going to be able to get a fantastic steak and truffle fries and something that has a signature aioli sauce. And so you're not going to have to give up when you go to beaches and say, oh, it's all about the kids and it's kid
Right.
friendly. Well, you
Hmm.
need that, but you also shouldn't have to give up on the great food for yourself at a
Hmm.
beaches. Holly, I would agree with you. Turks and Caicos. I went and I loved it so much. I'm bringing my family back next summer.
Oh
I
yeah.
love the food trucks, the mac and cheese truck, the ice cream truck. Bobby D's outside has a swim up bar, and they can go up and get milkshakes at the swim up bar. It's right there in the water park area for all the food trucks and that type of stuff. You can literally roll off the lazy river and go into Bobby D's. And there's a lot of kids activity centers that are in that area. And that's one of the nice parts is we can kind of give you an idea of what areas would be better for you to stay in with how old your kids are and
Hmm.
what their, food preferences are and things like that because it's a bit of a larger resort. But you're not giving up on anything. If you're going with a large family, they have spaces there for large families. And if you want to get away for the night, you can go and do appetizers at Soy and get sushi and try calamari if you've never tried it before, and then catch up with everybody else to do the main dinner with the whole family. So you really do have a ton of options. If you're not going with the whole family and the kids are in the kids club, maybe that's when you get your calamari, little sake cruise, what have you. So
Yeah.
I would say Turks and Caicos for sure. Cream of the crop,
Gotcha.
best of the best, most options for kids and fantastic food
And
for adults.
adults. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great point. So, for adventurous eaters, people who like to just try something a little bit different, maybe a little bit out of the ordinary, which Sandals and Beaches properties would you recommend for them?
Oh, that's a hard one.
I think the greatest part is obviously if you want to try more options, you're going to look for the resorts that instead of having six options or seven or eight or nine options, you're going to look for a combination of resorts that are together that give you that 2027,
Hmm.
those numbers, if you want to put your focus there. But the great part is that when you go to any of the locations, you typically have such a great mix of
Mhm.
Asian and Asian fusion and Indian, Italian, French. Um, a lot of people, some people come from the States, some people, come from England that are going to Sandals and Beaches locations. So they actually have American restaurants, which I think is like funny because you're like, okay, I don't think I need to go to the American restaurant, but their food's good too. So, you have the options there. There's always going to be something on the menu you can find that you like. But there's also going to be things that you would never try before. I was talking about calamari. I would never have tried that. I was at Soy one time, and oh, what did I have? I had something that I'd never had before, and I was like, why not? If I don't like it, I don't like it. It's part of what I paid for to be here, so I'm just going to go ahead and try it. And um, you can really kind of, especially if you're with other people, say, oh, can we have a couple sides of this? It's almost like being on a cruise where you don't cruise anywhere. So you're like, I'm sorry, but there's 4 side dishes that I like. So can I get this as my main dish? And then I need a little bit of risotto. I need a little bit of the truffle mashed potatoes. Can I have some asparagus? And you can almost kind of create your own, and always get seconds of anything you like, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got to say I've been way more adventurous with my food at Sandals just because I know I have the option. But you're always going to have like sushi. You're always going to have like escargot at your French restaurants. Royal Caribbean has the Thai restaurant out on the island, so that's something special there. Montego Bay, drawing a blank. What's the restaurant? It's kind of like a Mongolian barbecue, if you wish. So you pick out your meats and everything, and they mix it there. So that's kind of a different one that's not at most of the resorts either.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of out of the box type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, and in addition to all the sit down dining experiences that you're going to have for your main meals, you can also get your main meals in a more laid back fashion. There's, the jerk shack is going to be there, the pizza ovens, and or you can just go somewhere where you have a beautiful beach view and get a great salad. There's a lot of healthy options too. And when you go on vacation, sometimes you feel like, oh, I've eaten too much or I've not eaten well enough. I don't think I've ever left one of those locations and didn't feel like I ate enough fruits or vegetables. I mean, there is really great quality food,
Awesome.
so the standard's pretty high, which is nice.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about guests with food allergies or food sensitivities. Are there a lot of good options for people to choose from if that's something that they're concerned about?
Very much so.
Yes, and
And
I know Erin has a lot more experience on that one than me. So.
yes, I have a gluten allergy, so I can talk a little bit about my experiences. But the nice part is that whether you have a allergy yourself or you have a child with an allergy, which is particularly scary. I mean, you're leaving the country, they're your child. It's very nerve-wracking if you have a child with an allergy and you're concerned that they're going to have a reaction. And it's nice to know that they're taking it seriously.
Mhm.
And so I have had so many fantastic experiences where chef will meet with me, and you can actually go to a culinary desk when you get there, review the menus of the places that you're going to be dining, and they will make specialty items for you in advance so that it's something that's completely off menu, but they make it in a safe kitchen for you. Some of the larger resorts actually have like gluten-free kitchen areas and things like that. And then even if you last minute decide you're going to go ahead and do something, we call it second dinner. So sometimes you go and have an appetizer one place and then you have a dinner another place. So maybe you planned on going to the first restaurant, but not the second, or vice versa. If I talk with somebody, they'll just be like, you can have this, and this. I'll cook it in the back if you don't want it from buffet, if it was on a buffet, if it's a la carte, obviously
Mhm.
made separately. But then they also sometimes will be like, give me a minute, what's your favorite dessert? And I've had people go to other restaurants, get things to complement what I'm eating because they know that I like it and I can have it and they want me to have it. The last night I was in the grill and I was only there for about 4 days, and I was with a group. We went to meet, it was a cocktail party, and they knew what my allergies were. It's a smaller resort. And one of the leads told everybody when I walked in, they kind of, said, that's Erin. She has the gluten allergy. These are all the things we prepared for her. So when the first woman came around, she's like, hi, Erin, how are you tonight? And I'm like, I've never met this person, but I'm good. Thank you. And she's like, now you can have this, and this, and we have some other things coming out for you. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Like, I didn't even have to seek it out. I didn't have to ask anybody. She was like, it's all been approved by chef. And I'm like, okay, thank you. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and it's those kinds of special touches that you get at a property like this that maybe you wouldn't
Yes.
necessarily have at another all-inclusive brand. And I think
Mhm.
that is kind of what sets Sandals and Beaches apart, is just that attention to detail and
Yes.
them really caring about you, you know, and wanting to make sure that you have the most, you know, safe, but also the most kind of magical, you know, vacation experience that you can have, which is so important, especially if
sure.
you are traveling for, you know, maybe that big family vacation or your honeymoon or your anniversary trip or even your wedding. You know, Sandals and Beaches
Yes.
are a great choice for weddings because, you know, there is, with a certain length of stay, you can actually get your wedding for free at Sandals and Beaches, which is, we have, you know, done whole videos about that. So if that's something that you're interested in learning more about, you can definitely search this group. And we have talked about that in the past, but they do really go above and beyond to make sure that everything is perfect for you. So, ladies, this is probably going to be the hardest question that I've asked you all night. And that is, what is your overall favorite Sandals and Beaches resort for food? And you can't cheat and say stay at 1, play at 3. You got to pick one.
Well, I kind of already answered that in my first question. Royal Barbados was my favorite. But I did think while we were talking of another special touch from there. I had a couple that was there and they had a butler room. And the specialty on the island is actually flying fish, which they do not serve at Sandals. However, since they had a butler, the butler went out and got it for them so that they were able to try it. So that's another one of those special touches of Sandals and another perk to my Royal Barbados resort. So
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Erin?
So, one of the best, and you know, it's hard when you're talking about the best meal that you had because, again, there's great food everywhere. And sometimes it's also who you're with that makes a difference. I had the opportunity, I have a friend who I have been friends with for so long, and she'd kill me if I said how long because it gives too much away. But we have been friends for a very long time. And we had the opportunity to go to Barbados this past October. And I think one of the best meals that we had was at Portofino's. And part of it was the environment. Part of it was being with a great friend. Part of it was the ambiance. Part of it was the servers. But a good part of it was also the food. And all of it came together in something that was just fantastic. I tried carpaccio for the first time ever, which I never would have done. I had a beef tenderloin and it had that truffle mashed potatoes that I was talking about earlier. They have this delicious panna cotta. It had a berry prosecco with it. I mean, when I finished, I was like, from start to finish, this meal was just spectacular. And I'm sure I could say the same thing if I thought back long and hard about all the different places that I've gone to. Because there's not one place that I've gone to that I didn't have meals that you just dream about after you go home from that trip. And, you know, I've been to 8 different locations and I'm still dreaming about certain things from certain spots. But that one was memorable. That one definitely stuck out in my mind as a really great meal.
Yeah.
Portofino's is delicious. Me and my husband had it delivered onto our balcony when we were there. So,
That's
and we ate way
amazing.
too much food. We didn't end up leaving our room after that because we were too full.
Well, you would think with the name Portofino, it's just Italian, but it's Italian Mediterranean.
It's so good.
So their menu is just immense. There's so much there that you can choose from. So that's a great opportunity to take advantage of a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you know, maybe, you know, sharing some things and enjoying some more. So
yeah. Well, let's look over at our comment section here and see if we've had any questions come through. Oh, there's another Turks fan. Y'all are talking about all the different options at Turks, which Sounds amazing. I think that's the only one. So keep in mind, if you are catching this after it has gone live, that you are still able to ask questions. We're still monitoring this stream, and so we'll still see those questions pop up, and one of us can hop in and answer you, via the comment section if you have anything that you are curious about. But thank you so much for joining us tonight for Sundays with MMT. We had a lot of fun, obviously, talking about food, and talking about Sandals and Beaches resorts. If you would like to get some more information from any of the agents that you heard from tonight, the contact information is back at the beginning of the video if you joined us a little bit late. Remember, it is completely free to book your trip through a Marvelous Mouse Travels agent. You don't pay any more to book through us, and yet you get to benefit from concierge level vacation planning services. And we can book everything from theme parks to all-inclusives to cruises and beyond. So definitely reach out if you are interested in planning a trip. Next Sunday, we will be live in our Universal Orlando group, and we will be talking about everything there is to see and do at Universal City Walk, which is a great shopping, dining, and entertainment district kind of at the entrance to the two main Universal parks. So we'll be talking all about that next Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We would love to have you join us then, but thank you so much for joining us tonight. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a great night.